Hello and welcome to another edition of Ncast, and this one is for week number 3. I'm your host, Orange, and with me is Burner Reader and Gommeljack.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey! So, we have quite a bit to talk about this week. A very exciting interdivisional week is our first one, and a lot happened.
Yeah, stuff happened.
A lot of exciting matches, yeah.
What a week worthy of divisional matches, I tell
Yeah, some of the best I've seen so far. I think this is the best single week we've had.
I think mine is the worst.
Yeah.
There's always a dark sheep week, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
a black
true,
sheep.
but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Black sheep.
Have you any Woolburn?
No.
No.
Go
Should
away.
get some. It's pretty profitable.
Hmm.
In any case, our first match was Team Kakashi at Hidden Mist. And
Oh man.
Kakashi started out pretty strong.
They did. They
They
really
took
did.
him to their second lineup with just I think they had 2 handicaps against them. They took down Haku Zabuza to a handicap, and then Haku and Zabuza continued just take care of everyone else.
Yeah. They just friggin' crumbled.
yeah. Yeah, Kakashi opened up this match like really strong. I feel like their Sasuke and Kakashi did really well this week.
Yeah.
Like he's been on the back burner a little bit, I feel, but I feel like this week he really did some nice work.
Yeah.
I feel like Kakashi's probably one of their better fighters. I feel like Naruto is still really
PTS
weird.
Naruto, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He's
Shippuden
just-
Soccer right now is their weakest, to be honest.
I don't know. I honestly think that PTS Naruto
'Cause
has
it seems
been
like she just kind of jumps around. I mean, yeah, he's
Yeah.
really shaky.
I mean,
Well,
Naruto does that too, right?
she's
He jumps
also
around.
yeah.
It's true.
She also
It's
at
true,
least does
yeah.
damage where he doesn't. Like
He likes to awaken. I mean, we'll give him that.
he does like to awaken and do nothing
He
with it.
does.
Like both times we've seen him awaken, he's done nothing, and he hasn't really done much of anything. I mean, we've suggested maybe looking into Demon Wind Bomb, because even though it's super
Yeah.
good and like insanely effective, I don't know if they nerfed it since Storm 3. Did they?
Well, I mean, it wasn't even technically supposed to be in Storm 3, so it was still
Well, yeah.
pretty much as powerful as it was in the first game. So it's a little less powerful in this one.
Is this
It
the
doesn't
jutsu
have,
option?
Like, that thing.
Yeah, the jutsu option where he throws a Fuma
It is
Shuriken.
an in-game jutsu
Yeah.
option.
He throws a Fuma Shuriken and
Yeah.
then out pops out 2 Narutos, which stun lock you for a
Oh, that one.
That
yeah.
one.
That
Demon
would be
Wind
good
Bomb.
if you like to start with them. That might be a good alternative.
bit. Yeah. Also,
yeah, it's
if
got
he
really nice range and it beats
Yeah.
up their guard a lot.
and also at the very end of it, he basically ends up at the very end of the Shuriken. Like even if it doesn't
Yeah,
hit.
and he does like a little combo.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like an Itachi tilt, but it stuns them and allows whoever is out, if it's used as a support jutsu, to combo into it because they're stunned.
Yeah, it's quite a good jutsu option because
Mm-hmm.
Rasengan's a lot slower and
Yeah,
yeah, just there's a
it used
delay
to be a
to it.
lot faster in the older games. But I mean, look into that
Yes.
because starting this trimester break, we're allowing people to change their default jutsus, so it might be a thing
yeah,
you can
along
look into.
with ultimates
Yeah,
and being able to switch your free agent.
Yeah.
As a boost.
I will say
only during trimester breaks.
I will say Kakashi's first team,
Right,
of
yeah.
course, it was good. That was PTS Naruto, with Kakashi and Sasuke. Was that what they had, or was that Tenten in there? I
See,
forget.
Sasuke with
PTS 1010,
and
PTS Naruto, and Sasuke. Yeah.
Yeah, that did really well.
A lot of that though was Sasuke and PTS 1010, I feel. Like a lot.
Tenten was a
of
lot
that.
more aggressive this week.
Yeah, she
She was
was.
a lot. I liked it.
Mhm.
And it's a shame because Sasuke was really only in the first lineup because he led that match, and I feel like that's kind of a common theme. He's either in the first match or he's in the last two matches.
Mm-hmm.
I never really see him in the first match and the second match, or the first match and the last match.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could just be placement, but I feel like I don't really see what he can do all that often.
Yeah.
So.
But like, I want Kakashi to do better. I think that focusing on PTS Naruto and perhaps Sakura would be a good idea. Maybe disabling something maybe you disabled something you shouldn't have. Maybe re-enabling his grab.
Perhaps.
Maybe checking his jutsu change and all of that might be an idea. But going on to Mist, I mean, Mist was just solid as they usually are.
Mist was really solid. Yeah.
Kisame especially actually showed a lot this match too. He actually is probably the best we've seen of Kisame.
Yeah.
Yes, this is definitely. I mean, these past couple weeks, where he's been in have been really, really good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially this week, though. Like against Guy, he was impressive, but against Kakashi, I thought he was even more. Yeah, and he didn't even have a boost. It was only Yagura and Haku that had those. So, yeah, really impressive showing from him and Zabuza. The Zabuza and Haku team bringing it again.
Yeah, yeah. Zabuza, no ults. Haku, lots of ults.
It works out, yeah.
But anyways,
and we got to see their awesome team ult too, which is great.
Several times.
Yes. Yes, so we can go ahead and move on to the second match that you two commentated together.
Yes.
And that is going to be Hokage at Kurenai.
I should probably say why I was so out of it during match 1 and 2. That morning I had gotten some temporary crowns put in a few weeks during the first trimester break. I'm gonna have my for real crowns put in on 2 teeth, so I was biting my tongue a lot, and the pain was getting to me, and I had a headache and all this stuff. So.
I still thought you did pretty well. I mean, I feel like the only instances where it really stuck out to me were sometimes during like episode or match intros, but actually like during the match,
like forgetting to go over the
yeah.
I felt it did feel short actually.
That's never my job.
It's true. Yeah, I can't really blame you for that one.
Yeah.
And I have no excuses either. So unlike Burn has an excuse. So.
Yeah.
I feel like the actual matches were.
Yeah. I apologize for that. Anyways.
But yes,
Hokage. That was a good back and forth actually. Good showings from both sides. Especially Hokage. Here was Hashirama.
Hashirama did do really well this week. Yeah, I'm glad
he was performing like Sage Hashirama. He was throwing those ults out like candy.
Yeah, I'm glad because I mean in the preseason he was really, really lackluster, and yeah, I feel like it was between him and Boruto that would have been on the inactive bench. But it turns out that he's pretty good when you get rid of his tilt, I believe. I think that's what they got rid of.
Yeah, and we had to quickly stop the match and re-disable his tilt.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and this was a really, really close match. One of the closer ones we had this week. Pretty neck and neck every single round, and the last round came right down to it. And Kurenai actually, they won this one. And it was nice to see that Hokage's come pretty far since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that first lineup though, jeez.
Yeah, it was a really strong one. I'm glad that they're starting to discover what lineups and what teams work really well together. As for Kurenai, strong as always. Shino was really good. He was also good. I feel like most of the team showed up this week.
Yeah, I can't really say anyone did really bad. I think they all held their own. I mean, they all did the same with Hokage. They all kind of, put their part in and brought it down to just a last little bit of health on both sides.
Yeah, I think if either team had one character that slouched, then it probably would have been their loss.
Yeah.
Um, but it turned out to be really even, really nice, close match, and probably one of my favorites of the week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
On to match 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sand versus Jinchuriki. That tilt though.
Yes. I
Which one, Naruto or Obito?
He's probably talking about Obito.
I'm talking about Obito. Naruto.
Yeah.
He spams it, but he just he barely connects.
He's rarely in range, but the good thing about it is that they can run into it.
Well,
like when it's already out, its hitbox lasts for a while, so they can technically he can fire it off and then they can run right into it and get knocked back. But
you can say the same
Obito's
to
just kind of
Karin.
works from any range, no matter what.
Yeah, I know. It just goes across the field.
I will say this was actually quite a bit of tilting from Obito this time. That felt a little out of character. I mean, he does like to use it, but it felt a little out of character. He doesn't usually tend to use it that frequently. Like he was basically just saying, "Naruto, I got this. Here, I'll just do this. This is how you do it."
Here, let me tilt. Here, let me tilt. Here, let me tilt.
I think
it especially worked.
I think it was because he was at range so often.
Yeah, I think it was because of the fact that you were against a ranged character, which it worked especially well against their third lineup.
It kept on interrupting Tamari.
Yeah. Because it would blow straight through all of her projectiles.
First time that team's been beaten, I think.
Yeah.
Was last week. I don't think they lost a single round.
I think that lineup has had the most sweeps, reverse sweeps so far, at least to that point. I think they had 3 or 4 under their belt, like from the preseason and the regular season.
You guys have beaten the streak.
So to speak, yeah.
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 SS Jins.
So yeah. This was a really good match.
Went to round 5.
Really back and forth.
Yeah, extremely back and forth. Showing how powerful both teams can be.
Start. Yeah, we had a really good start, but then Sand really brought it back like halfway through, and then
Donzo and Gara.
We had one handicap. Yeah, that was a really good team. And we had that one handicap in the last round, which really kind of won it for us, I think. With that Tamari and Gara team not having handicaps in their favor in that match really hurt them.
Yeah.
And
plus both being on defense builds as well. So
yeah, and having a smaller stage since we did the stage swap.
Yeah.
Really helped out too, I think. So yeah, I mean I think it's our first real usage of a stage swap to kind of gain an advantage so far. So I hope to see more of that going on soon. But yeah, a really good match. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad that it came as close as it did.
Yeah.
And next we can talk about Sage at Stone.
Yeah.
Which was an incredible match.
Yeah. Stone just didn't want to fight, from what I could tell.
No, and I feel like, Kitamura was slouching a bit, but as I said in the match, in the actual episode, I still stand by this, that I think when he has a defense minus, he can't handle pressure. He's usually the one pressuring.
Yeah.
But once he gets pressure from, something like a ranged ultimate or a ranged jutsu or something, or just aggression, then he can't deal with it.
Sage was being very aggressive. Like they didn't give him a chance to breathe and took advantage of that defense minus, and that really hindered him. And that's one of the things where when you have 2 ranged fighters who usually when they're in solo, they'll usually have that defense. But since he had both, one had to have it, the other couldn't. I mean, I guess you could have given him maybe just a defense plus instead of just giving him the attack plus that he had. But I mean,
yeah,
they could branch out a little bit more with their ranged builds. I feel, because it's been the same every week so far, and I think it's about time that people have started to see through that a little bit, and Stone might have to adapt.
To
As
make
for
it to that
Sage,
point.
though, really good. That ultimate grab on Hashirama hitting Kitamaru is
Mm-hmm.
just insane
So much
damage.
damage. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
it
with that defense
was.
minus. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was a really good showing from all of Sage this week, and I was really impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying for a while that I think that this week, I believe it was even in my prediction last week that I thought they would win, and it turned out that they did, and it wasn't even as close as I thought it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
which
based on what
was
we saw from Stone thus far, I mean, we were if they were
Well,
gonna
yeah.
if they were gonna win, we were expecting it to be at least close.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that was
that was
definitely surprising.
yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
it went to
probably
round
the biggest
4,
shock of
so
this match.
but the
Yeah,
last round was kind of just it was like a charity round because at that point it was just like
pretty
the
much.
handicaps were just it was too much for Keto and Datara to overcome at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good showing from Sage. Stone, I mean, they tried, but they're gonna need to adapt
Yeah,
to teams like Sage in the
and I think,
future.
like I may have mentioned before too, I think since Sage had a lot of moments where they had really heavy dominance, they would never get to their last lineups. They would not see many of their characters. I think this is a kind of somewhat of a result of just not having as much data as some other teams have.
Yeah,
And I think seeing this might kind of show, hey, maybe this is kind of we're actually seeing some weaknesses here. Now, how can we fix this?
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I feel like Stone definitely needs more data on their fighters
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like they don't have totally solid strategies for all of them yet. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be interested to
Yeah.
see where they go from here.
And it also
But
goes to show you that despite having a couple of losses under the belt, you can't underestimate
you can't
teams.
underestimate teams. No, you
Yeah.
really can't.
E-
Everything is
Especially
so
against
fresh this
divisionals.
season.
Especially against
Yeah,
divisionals, you should
Divisionals, yeah.
show them enough respect to go all out. Essentially.
yeah. No matter who it is,
Yeah.
you don't want to
Divisionals
underestimate.
count as 2 matches.
Essentially.
Basically,
So you're basically winning 2 matches if you win a divisional. So that
And
sounds definitely very important to me.
yes. And also at the very end of the season, if both of you are tied with win-loss records, whoever won your divisional will be above
Sage
the
is
other.
gonna win out. Yeah,
Yeah. Like in Sage versus Stone, Sage would win out if they have the same exact win-loss record because Sage won the divisional against Stone. Boom.
right. And now they're only one win behind them, so
Oh yeah.
Stone's gonna have to watch out.
Yeah, they are. On to
But
Asuma and
yeah,
Guy,
Hmm.
right?
oh, another really awesome
Quite
match.
a refreshing match
Yeah.
at the
Um,
beat. It was
And
very nice.
and the reason why we have this image as our as our background this week.
yes, because it's oh so appropriate.
Yes. Asuma
Yeah,
was not having any of
I
Guy's
really
shit.
Lee didn't bring the sunscreen.
no.
Yeah, Lee didn't bring the sunscreen.
And I really feel like this is a week that helps cement that Asuma is definitely improving as a
Mhm.
team. That this is a new Asuma than what we saw in the preseason and the beginning of this main season. I feel like this is really where they're going to start to change and get a lot stronger as a team as a whole. Because I feel like everybody on Asuma showed up this week. I can't really think of anybody that was really lackluster.
No, even
Uh,
Yamato did well. Asuma did well.
Here, let me check. Let me check.
maybe I don't know. I mean, Choji did
Shikamaru did nothing.
was she get in?
Oh,
No,
that's true. Yeah,
he wasn't in.
That lazy bastard.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
true.
out of all things,
You
you
do
don't want to
much.
go to maybe the beach and just chill. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff.
Going to round 5 again. Guy started to bring it back. They actually wasn't it like Guy kind of had an advantage. Guy started coming back with the final lineup from
Yeah.
Guy, Lee, and was it Tenten?
Uh, Lee and PTS Neji.
Oh, Neji, yeah.
Yeah.
Neji actually actually did pretty well, considering that we haven't seen much from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was impressive.
He's been pretty solid.
I liked. Yeah, I really liked the way he was backing up with his rotations. It was really back it up. Really good aggression from him as well. I liked him charging in and trying to get a lot of damage. I mean, and he did.
I mean, I would honestly like to see him in some more lineups. I mean, because he seems to kind of just either start and never see him again, or he's benched and you don't see him at all. I feel you have some potential with him, and I think it'd be nice to maybe try to figure out combinations that work well.
Yeah, definitely. As for Team Asuma, like I mentioned, pretty solid overall. I don't feel like anybody was really slouching this week, except for when Asuma awakened and then just didn't do anything that one time.
Yeah,
that was great.
There was also
that was pretty cool of him.
There was also a lot of child abuse. A lot of
yes,
child abuse.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, more child abuse than I've ever seen in one single match. So it's really impressive. Probably the highlight of this match, I gotta say. But yeah, I mean, Lee was ulting a bunch for Team Guy.
Yep.
And Team Asuma just really was not having it. They were just getting around it. I mean, they got hit by it a couple times, but really good counterplay from them, and it was close, but at the end Asuma just had so much of an advantage that they had to have won that at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, really solid showing from Asuma here, and Guy too, to an extent. So yeah, anything else about that match, guys?
No.
Nope. Okay. So we have Asuma
Cloud versus Akatsuki.
Yes.
I remember very little of this match.
You do? I remember.
We had to redo
starting
it
out
at least
really
once.
well. Yeah,
because
Utakata
brought he brought too much items to the fight.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to have Hoarder.
He was a cheating bastard.
Yeah.
You guys watching the episodes won't know that. I think we mentioned it, but you won't know how the initial ones went unless you saw the stream.
Yeah.
But that first round, I believe Yugito awakened, or was that a team awakening? And then Nagato actually was able to get them down to 2 handicaps before he was finished off.
Yes, I think that's what it was. Yeah, because Nagato kind of put the work in just to kind of give him that little bit of an advantage coming into the second lineup.
Yeah, it was either 1 handicap or 2 handicap, but it was probably 2, considering I don't think she had release power or anybody else on Cloud had that. So that really started off the match well for Akatsuki, because they didn't win, but with that kind of handicap, they were able to come back against that same team later, and then after that, a team with Utakata and
Darui.
Yeah, Darui. And Darui, I noticed this week, didn't really spam very much.
Yeah.
He didn't really get to.
He wasn't really given much room, and Utakata kind of kept the spotlight. And when Utakata was out, he was just taking damage because of that defense -1.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that's the right build choice for him.
Yeah, I don't either. Like
Utakata is a fighter who wears you down. He's not the best to have something that can wear him down faster than his opponent.
Yeah, granted, I think maybe an attack +1 could work, but definitely not attack +2.
Yeah,
because he does have nice damage. He does, but
he does.
It's attack +2 is not really worth it.
I'm just not the biggest fan of Utakata. He's been doing okay in the past, but he's been increasingly lackluster as we go on.
I don't really feel like he has too much of a place on Cloud right now. I mean, I almost feel like having Raikage back in would be better.
Yeah.
But I mean, having the range pressure is helpful, but
It is helpful, but at the same time, it might just be the fact that he's just been with Darui every time.
And that's true. And there's also the fact that Cloud's home is very small.
Yeah.
And while that works to an advantage for him to an extent because his bubbles don't go that far,
Yeah.
it also means the opponent can close in on him very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And
well,
same for Darui. He has less space to spam.
Yeah. But what I was going to suggest is perhaps look into starting to do 3-man teams. Because Cloud has never done any 3-man teams. They've only done 2-man teams. And it's starting to really not work.
I mean, I like the 2-man teams. Like, I definitely think you can get a lot of synergy, like more precise synergy with those. But we've seen from teams like Hokage this week that if you can still get a really strong 3-man team going, and
you also saw it from Taka this week.
Taka, yeah, but we haven't gotten to that yet. Yeah, I know. Burns half happy and half sad. Mostly sad, I feel like. So probably 70% sad. But yeah, Akatsuki did really well here, and I really was not sure who was going to win this match initially. I felt like Akatsuki was going to win, and they did, but it was a really close one, and I feel bad for Cloud. But it's not it for them. They still have some adjustments that they can make, and it's definitely not the end of it.
Akatsuki's kind of had a rough patch too. This was their first win, and so it's good for them to kind of give them a little boost. And for Cloud, I mean, I was impressed with the third Raikage. He actually did well, and he was actually in 2 of the lineups. And both times he actually did put in the work, and it's good to see because we haven't seen much of him, or he's only been maybe once.
No. He's been in quite a lot during the preseason at the very least, and I honestly think that the third Raikage is their best.
But I mean, in the regular season though, like in the regular season.
In the regular season, he hasn't been as prevalent.
Yeah, at this moment, I do also feel like he's their best. Yugito really showed her stuff too this week, I think. So that was really nice to see because in the preseason she felt really kind of lackluster to me, but here in the main season so far, she's been plenty aggressive. She throws out her ults. It feels more like the older Yugito that we used to have. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah. Really impressive showing for both teams, and apologies to Cloud, but you guys can definitely pull back from this.
Definitely.
It's not the end. Far from it. And
Did somebody get a knock on their door?
Oh, was this our special guest?
Not me.
Not you? Okay, not bad. Anyways, on to the next match. We have Minato versus Sound, and I'll let you guys handle this because I have to go do something really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, so this match
was it was honestly, that was back and forth. I mean, I think Sound got a good lead, and then kind of came back, and it was like kind of a tug of war. Some good showings from some characters from Sound. I mean, with Snake Cape, I mean, he actually threw out quite a few ultimates to really bring the match a lot closer to them in their favor.
Yeah, I really liked the majority of Sound's showings this week. I liked Heavy Sasuke. I liked Snake Cape Kabuto. Tayuya was kind of a disappointment this week, not gonna lie. But I don't think she's lost cause whatsoever. I think it's just a matter of trying to get her to work in different lineups and seeing what really works for her, what complements her.
Exactly, and plus there are quite a few characters on Kakashi that are pretty aggressive too, and there was a lot of pressure with a lot of the Fireball Jutsu supports, and all that stuff. I mean, they did have Madara in 3 times
too. The fact that Madara was in 3 times.
Yeah, I mean that thing, like he fires that Jutsu, and it's like, oh, there goes half the screen. I can't see anything. There's.
Yeah, basically. And not to mention his really powerful aggression and his dash game
A
and his
very
combos
strong
just have
like
so much
mid-range
reach.
fighter, just like in before. It's just, and I think
Mm.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I think really that's pretty much what won this for Minato, other than the slight derping from Tayuya, not really using her awakening to great effect. But other than that, I feel like it was a very close match. It did come to a round 5, but
Yes.
yeah, really strong showing from both teams.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Sound, this puts them a little bit back behind Minato more, but it's they've definitely improved a lot, and
Oh yeah.
it's nice to see them on par with Minato.
Exactly. I mean, and it just shows you almost all these matches went to round 5, and so it was showing you that a lot of these teams, even the weaker ones, and at least in record, are showing that they have what it takes to go against the stronger teams.
Yes, and I believe Sound benched Kabuto, yeah, and
Yeah.
Minato had benched
They
Double
benched
String on Kakashi or
did
Obito.
no. Wait,
Obito is in.
Obito was in.
They benched Minato.
Minato? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Minato.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, it was really really good showing there from Minato. Madara, of course, is powerful as always, but they won't be able to use him 3 times again until next the next interdivisional match they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
So yeah. In any case, our final match of last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to try to drag that out so you'd get back by the
The
time
the,
we
the
talk
Taka and
about
Friends show.
Tom and
Yeah.
Friends.
The Taka and Friends show.
Yes, this was
Where
a
we were
battle.
introduced to grape sauce.
Yes, grape sauce.
The most evil of the sauces.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a custody battle of salad,
Mm-hmm.
and Taka really just
Yeah.
really beat the
we went
crap out of
we
Uchi.
went all out. We purchased 12K worth of boosts, so we were down to 5,000 going into this, and
Yeah,
um, Uchiha purchased one boost
one boost
to
on Shisui.
Shisui.
But they used them 3 times too.
Yeah, they used him three
It's true.
times. Um,
Yeah,
we ended up sweeping.
which is
I
scary.
did not expect it or want it.
Yeah,
I
because
wanted a close
now
match, not a
now
sweep.
EMS looks super OP, and
Yeah, which I don't think he is. Still don't think he is. But I
well,
mean,
it'll have to.
fuck me though, right?
We'll have to wait until the trimester's over to
Well,
really.
that's a grape EMS though. I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
He's the OP one.
Yeah.
Yes, the grape one is really where the power comes from. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like really most of the reason that Taka had such a commanding victory this time was because of the boosts.
Yeah.
They really lended to just their overall strength of the fighters and allowing them to stay in longer and pump out more damage
Yeah.
while
So
doing so.
for the first lineup we had, well, the only lineup from Taka, we had the last Sakura on a defense +2 build. Defense +2,
Yeah.
attack -1 with ultimate chakra saver. And then we had EMS Sasuke with chakra +1 and ultimate +1. The ultimate +1 was a boost. And then, which also helped him immensely in throwing out these ultimates, the chakra +1. Along with charge support and all that. Then there's Taka Sasuke, who had chakra +2, ultimate -1, but also boost of defense +1. So between Taka Sasuke and last Sakura, there was a lot of tank, and with EMS, there was a lot of charging and ultimates.
Yeah, and from Taka, a lot of jutsu spam.
Yeah. Well, that's to be expected from Taka Sasuke.
Oh yeah, of course. And I feel like another thing that was kind of out of Uchiha's favor is this is the second week they've used Sarada, but they I mean they've both times they've used her, they have used her in 2 matches, but I don't know. It feels like they still need to try to get adjusted to how she works now that she's banned from UCS.
Honestly, it almost feels like I know they're trying to give her the chakra plus, but I almost feel maybe even like giving her maybe even a defense build just to allow her sustain, so she can maybe throw out the ults, maybe not as much, but just give her some supports that have a charge increase, or just give her just an extra, honestly, I think the longer she's on the field, the more of a chance she has of landing that ult. That might be an interesting take on maybe utilizing her.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, because this week the last Sasuke had the defense plus. It was only defense plus 1, but they didn't have any other defense relegated to anybody else. So
hell, I mean that's literally what I'm doing with the last Sakura is defense plus 2 and ultimate chakra saver to try
just making her tank and spam.
Although Sarada can't use UCS, but
the closest she can get is probably defense plus, and then NCST, and then
I mean she'll still throw
charge
out
assist.
She'll still throw out the ultimates if she has chakra, but allowing her to just stay out longer might be a thing. And I do want to point out that there were, I think, 2 or 3 ultimates that she did try. She hit with one of them, but there were 2 or 3 that were dodged or our guys were on the ground.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like she didn't try it.
Her jutsu honestly is really good. It's her jutsu. Yeah. I mean, and they could even because they could just give her chakra saver, right? I mean, they don't.
Oh yeah, right? They can give her chakra saver.
Even though she can't spam ults, maybe just have it so she has a defense with chakra saver to be able to maybe throw out more of those jutsus of hers.
Or if you want to get more wacky, put a FES
5-element seal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically
could make her way more aggressive.
It could definitely. It makes it so that her ultimate costs basically 95% of her bar.
Yeah.
Which
means most of the time she's not going to be focusing on it.
Yeah. It might make her focus on other things like jutsu spam.
Yeah.
Do you know if lightning flicker actually is a chargeable one or no?
No, it isn't.
Then you don't have to worry about getting Sign Master. So
yeah,
I mean, there you
go.
Now,
which Uchiha does have some ultimate jutsu substitution characters, right? Support types.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they changed them from their defaults. They're all whatever their default is. I just don't know what the defaults are.
I don't remember either.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really sure. They're the same from the preseason. I know that much, but yeah. Other than that, I can't really recall exactly what they were.
Let's see. Ultimate Jutsu sub. There is.
I don't remember it coming into play at all. Shisui. Like I think Shisui. Oh, he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's the only one.
He was in every lineup, but then he never actually blocked any. Unless he actually just tanked it when he was out.
He was out most of the time, I feel.
Yeah. And I also want to point out, like, he was doing an insane amount of ult spamming. Like an insane like if any of those actually hit. Yeah. Like he didn't even have ultimate chakra saver.
It's really weird because in the preseason and other time, he would connect with that ultimate a lot. And it seems like in so far this season the connection rate isn't as high. It feels like people are dodging it a lot more.
Well, there is the point that it's on my computer now. So maybe different games have different quirks.
True.
It could be, but I mean, I felt like even towards the end of the preseason where he actually was showing up, he was hitting him less. And I don't know, but really, really strong showing from Taka here, and I'm excited to see more.
I mean, unfortunate that it had to happen, but I mean, just take this as a learning experience, Uchiha, and just say, hey, I mean, it's hard to really. It just work with some of the builds and just try to just change things up a little bit, because I think that's going to help you guys a lot. I mean, and it's not over. You guys are
unmasked. Consider switching unmasked Obito and.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I feel that out of their team, I feel almost Sasuke the last. It might be is their weak link right now.
Definitely.
It feels like because unlike Sounds Sasuke, I feel like Sounds is a little more solid than the last Sasuke.
And
so bringing Obito, I know. But bringing Obito unmasked, I mean, like in preseason, he had a great combination with Madara. I mean, him and Madara did really well together.
Really good team,
yeah. And he really likes those ultimates.
Yes, he does.
So
So
hey, getting some ultimates from somebody on your team might be a good idea. Other than Shisui,
yes,
or going more ults happy with Shisui or something. That would be interesting.
that could work too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's pretty much that's every match from last week. And
Mm-hmm.
wow, this week was incredible. I mean,
Yeah. It
honestly, just this bunch of matches is the best that we've had. And I know I said that earlier, but I really believe that so
it was
far.
deserving of a divisional week.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can move on to the endcast questions, two of which that we have this week. And so our first question is from Pie Guy. He asks, any advice for the teams that are having a slow start in this first trimester? I know we should consider disabling stuff when the time comes, but for these next 2 weeks, should teams consider testing to find something new that might help, or to stick to what they know what's strong? Um,
Um, a mix of both. I think
yeah,
you should try and push the boundaries a bit, but not too much.
yeah. There's a certain extent to where you can afford to innovate with certain builds on certain characters. If you have something strong and something that seems to work for you consistently, then you should probably stay with that. At least if you're trying to catch back up with your record. If your
Yeah.
record's good, like maybe later in the sure, but
Mm-hmm.
for now, when we're at the beginning of the season, you should just probably try to stick to what you know, and then just go out a little bit with maybe like one character a week. Try to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Just little
Like,
things, like a slight scroll change, or even what was done with Nagato starting and giving him a different jutsu. Just little things like that,
yeah.
to see how they perform, and maybe put some of your stronger characters with maybe in a character that you're maybe doing some work with, but the stronger character can kind of carry more of the weight, and you can see how they mesh together. Just finding those different character combinations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, even if it's not the end of a trimester yet, you can technically purchase a boost to change some things on one character
But
per
only once
trimester.
per trimester.
Yes, only once per
Like,
trimester. So
I know that, and we're probably gonna have to send him a PM. Scuddy tried to purchase the same boost twice. We can't do that.
yeah, I already let him know.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah, you can only do it once per trimester, but
Mm-hmm. So that means only
so
one
pick
character.
carefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
But I think just
Also,
it. I'm sorry.
going back to what I was trying to get at,
Hmm.
um, like, don't don't break the mold for your guys that are doing well. Stick with it. If it proves that they're like at least consistent, that's what you're trying to look for is consistency.
Yeah, you really want that
Yeah.
right
Like, for
now.
instance, like, I'm not changing my characters that much between the weeks. But there is one
No.
character I have been changing a lot, and that is Jugo.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't yet found a right home, like a right build for him.
He doesn't have his niche yet.
Yeah,
Like
his niche. And
niche, sorry, niche.
I think
Jesus.
I might have found it against Sound, but I
Yeah, it
mean
could be.
that's what I'm trying to check out this week to see
Yeah.
if more of an awakening build would work for him. But
Right. And Jinchuriki's been doing that too.
mm-hmm,
Mostly with people like Kushina or Naruto
yeah,
and Obito to an extent, but we only really do it once per week. So that's kind of the big thing. Don't experiment too much at once.
yeah. And if you
Um,
do, I would
because you can
recommend.
really
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was pretty much the end of my statement. Just saying, you if you do it too much, then there's more of a risk of you not
Yeah.
performing well.
Yeah, and just pay attention to the tendencies of some of these characters until the end of the trimester and see who is using what, and just kind of go from there and determine, okay, well, this doesn't seem to be working as well as I hoped. Because honestly,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I know Pie Guy just came into a captain position, and the last stuff was already chosen for you. So just use the data that you get right now, and then if you want to make just a disable or two. I mean, I wouldn't just go ham and disable as much as you could, or I would just do a few things, and then gradually just get a feeling for the team, and then just go from there.
Yeah.
But I would also recommend, if you are thinking of trying to do something, don't be afraid to just use them as your first starter, because they're only in once that way. So the risk is minimized.
That actually is a good suggestion.
It is a very good suggestion, yeah. Now he has a second question, and one that we've seen before, but it's something that we can kind of answer differently along the way. He said, aside from a few, there was a lot of even divisional matches. Teams should have been able to gather a lot of info. Were there certain team comps that stood out that teams should possibly build on? Well, since you're the Akatsuki captain, I will say that I really enjoyed seeing Toby again.
Yeah,
that worked out really well.
Toby Payne.
Yeah, Toby Payne. Yeah, and that team that Hokage pulled out this week. Their first lineup was
insane. Yeah, you should definitely try that again.
For sure. And Hidden Mist, Hakuzawaza, Kisame works pretty well with the two of those as well. So, I mean, really, you can just get that whole team going, and it seems to be they're probably their most solid setup.
Probably
with or without Kisame. So, yeah. Kurenai, Gara, Shino. I mean, it's been beaten a couple times, but I still feel like that's a really strong team.
I mean, honestly, I can't really say there were that many that stood out that much, because there are a lot of teams that have a lot of comps that have shown really well, and it's really hard to say if one stood out more than the other, because it just feels like they all do very well at what they are supposed to do.
Yeah, it seems like every team has at least one at this point, which is good.
For me, it's usually been double sauce anything.
Yeah, I mean, and it's obvious for Jinchuri, but we've been finding some other good ones recently too. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, if you want to know what good team comps a team has, just you can go back and watch the matches. If you're going up against somebody and you're worried, but you don't know what exactly you should be watching out for, then I would suggest doing that.
I will say I have enjoyed the choice of a more defensive Toby. I have actually enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I thought that was good.
I'm glad you took that advice.
Yeah. So yeah,
I hate Naruto. He's so butts.
Nerf him.
So. Oh God! Don't even. So we have our next question from a Torque. He says, "What is the team matchup you're looking forward to the most coming up this season so far?" So what match on the schedule? What matches are we looking forward to the most in the future?
I think that was already asked like a while back.
Was it?
Yeah.
That could have been
like back in the preseason. Anyways.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean things do change. We probably look at a lot of teams pretty differently than we did in the preseason. So, I gotta say I'm really looking forward to seeing another Guy versus Uchiha in week 5. See how that works out. And I'm also really looking forward to Asuma versus Kakashi. I feel like those teams could have a really good match. It is at Kakashi's home, so I don't know. But there are some really good ones in next trimester that I'm seeing here.
I'm gonna say Ataka Jin.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm gonna just go on a limb on that one.
I'm also very scared.
Yeah, fuck off. Oh yes,
But
I'm scared now. When
we've
you
we've
took
already
down
both
Sand,
agreed. We've
sure.
already both agreed to not use boost against each other. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I
It'll be
mean,
a gentleman's fight.
every team in Kage is just so scary. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where like every time there's a Kage team in a match, I'm just like so nervous, but I'm really looking forward to it. So most of the matches that have to do with my division, I'm usually looking forward to every week. But yeah, I really right now the teams I really focus on, other than the ones in my division, are Akashi, Cloud, Sound, and Akatsuki are really the teams that I'm looking at really close, and Hokage to an extent. But those are the ones that I'm really keeping an eye on, and I like to see their matches a lot. And Sage, I was keeping a closer eye on before, but it seems like they've really hit their stride. So
Uh-huh.
while I'm curious to see where they go from here, I don't doubt that they can definitely win their upcoming matches.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically for me, it's mostly a focus on certain teams. I want to see certain teams, and maybe not so much certain matchups, because it feels like we're rebuilding a lot of the old season rivalries that we had, because so much has changed. You can't really base how you expect matches to go off of previous seasons anymore.
Like, remember Akatsuki and Uchiha with the
Yeah.
Tachis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know how it is for you guys. Like if it's just certain teams you look forward to, but that's kind of how it works for me.
Well, I mean, I mostly look forward to my divisions.
Yeah. I mean, those are the big ones. It's
I mean, I look forward to
it's
teams who, have maybe been struggling a little bit and watching them find something that works. And
Mhm.
I do like seeing that.
Yeah.
That's
I
something I enjoy.
I
I
enjoy
still
that a
enjoy
lot.
it, but I'm I'm specifically looking forward to the outcome of week 8 and week 13.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
Kage is
specifically.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those too, because then we have you, and then we have Uchiha at the end of the season. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I also have no idea what I'm going to do for Sand at this point in time.
yeah.
Absolutely no idea. Like
Well,
there is the possibility
yeah, and
that
Sand's at home, so there's not
yeah, Sand's
much.
at home, so there is water though. So that's a thing.
Mhm.
And there is the possibility that I might be losing Jugo for Suigetsu despite his massive negatives because
Could
Jugo
be.
is just not performing. Like
Yeah.
I literally have data backing up. I went through all of the lineups that I did, and Jugo has won less than 20% of the time. That's bad.
Jeez.
That's
That's
including the
pretty bad.
preseason, where
Yeah.
like everybody else is above 50 to 60%.
Yeah,
So
that's not good.
yeah,
And there, of course, is also the threat of a Sandmap swapping to freeze a ship. So you want to be careful of that too.
don't do
Yeah,
that,
man.
please. Don't
That's gonna be.
please no. Don't
Please
do
no.
that.
So, yeah, so that's our question segment for this week. Good to actually get some this time, but
Yeah.
now we have next week predictions.
Yes.
And yeah, builds are actually in this time that we're doing them. We're not going to really focus on them, but just be aware that they will probably play a role in
Yeah.
some
I
of the
don't have any of
predictions.
the builds up again. I closed all 16 of my tabs, so
Yeah,
have fun with that.
I'm just gonna pull them up as they go and just
I'm just gonna feel it.
yeah.
I'm just gonna
So
believe
first
it.
up, oh, nice,
Damn.
nice one. So first up, we have Akatsuki at Hokage, and this pretty
Both-
interesting themed match actually.
Both coming off a pretty strong week for the both of them. I mean, even though Hokage did lose to
still a good
Kurenai,
showing
but a
from
very
them.
good showing, probably one of their best showings I've seen.
Mhm.
And Akatsuki getting the win out of Cloud and also showing some nice team compositions, and it feels like they're also starting to get things together as well.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, this is gonna be at Hokage's home, which is the Hokage's mansion, and they have Naruto benched, while Akatsuki appears to have who do they have benched
You mean
here?
they have?
They,
You mean they
they
have
have
to have Naruto in, right? Is that what you're saying? You mean, or do you mean they
yes,
haven't
no,
benched?
they are benching
Okay,
Naruto
you're
against
just okay. I
Akatsuki.
got you.
Yeah.
Um, and
Hmm.
yeah, because the only part I'm really going to go into is what benching, and Akatsuki's benching Nagato. So
Hmm.
interesting,
Okay.
Hmm.
Huh.
interesting bench choices here.
I wonder who's underestimating who.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Keep in mind, I mean, they have Hiruzen and everybody else in on Hokage, so really, it's not like they have
Because
a weak lineup.
yeah, well, although it feels like Naruto might be one of their weaker characters compared to the rest, and whereas Nagato feels like one of Akatsuki's maybe stronger
True.
members. So in terms of the bench, I feel like it's the bench is more in favor of Minato, or not Minato,
Hokage.
Hokage. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hokage.
mix them up too. Don't worry. Um, but yeah, honestly, after last week, I really think Naruto is getting up there for Hokage in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how good he is on the team. But I don't feel like it was a bad choice to bench him. But I am curious. Maybe Akatsuki just figured they needed to get a bench for Nagato. I don't know
Yeah.
if they've had one yet. No, they haven't. This is his first bench, so
I guess that's
Yeah,
his
I
purple
it
point
could be
guess
too.
just a
makes
necessity.
sense.
Yeah,
Because apart from the first lineup for last week, Hokage's been pretty all over the place.
yeah. So as far as predictions go, honestly, I'm gonna say Hokage on this one.
Mm.
I'm gonna despite what I said, I'm gonna say Akatsuki. I feel like they have a good chance at getting this, even if
Oh,
they
for
are
sure.
benching Nagato. I feel with Pain in, Kakazu doing very well, and even Conan also showing what she can do, and then Toby. I mean, he is no slouch, so I feel like that might be actually a good winning combination.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna agree with all of that. Go with Akatsuki.
All right.
You have
So
convinced me.
so next up we have Hidden Stone at Hidden Sound.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Mm.
And there is a Kitamaro bench versus a Tayuya bench.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
no reunion.
yeah, only ranged fighter coming in here is gonna be Datara. And
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that because you see, a lot of the reason why Tayuya was it seemed like a lot of the reason why Tayuya was underperforming was because of the fact that she was up against really aggressive melee characters. You have Taka, you have Guy, you have Minato, who have all like been in her face.
Madara.
Madara, like
And
Madara
other ranged
specifically.
fighters
Yeah,
like Tenten beating her out just because
yeah,
Tenten better,
yeah.
better
But
priority.
there were a couple of times where Madara was so in her face that a few of her ultimates were just canceled because of it.
Yeah, and she tried a few of them last week.
Yeah.
I think like three or four, but yeah, literally, they were canceled. So
hmm
I
Like
don't think Tayuya's been bad, but I don't think it was a bad choice to bench her considering their ranged fighter lineup.
I would have preferred to see her in this lineup specifically because this is one of the rare opportunities where she does have all of that time and all of that range.
It's
And
true.
despite like her projectiles probably lose out to both Kitamaro's and Datara's,
Mhm.
her Doki blocks all of theirs, and she can
Yeah,
shoot through her Doki. So that's a big thing too. And she'll have a lot of range for her ultimates and all that. It just feels weird but at the same time, I can see why.
Yeah.
Like
I,
she has yet to have a bench, so yeah, sure.
yeah, I don't think it was a bad choice. I mean, this versus benching her against what's their next matchup, Kakashi. I think I would rather have them have her in versus Kakashi. It seems like that would be a better match for her
I don't know.
because
Is she at
they have
home
less
or?
range in general. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's at
Okay.
home too.
Well, see, like we're coming at it from different sides of the spectrum.
It's
I'm
true.
saying like it's a good thing that there's more range on the enemy side because she is not as pressured. Whereas you're
Yeah,
saying next week's probably better because there is no range, so she will have less opportunity to get outranged, but she's a ranged character. So,
yeah. It's just the thing is like I feel like Stone is generally just more solid than Kakashi right now. So that's really where
then
I'm coming
sound.
from. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, that's kind of mostly where I'm coming from with this. But grant all things considered, I do think Stone is probably going to win this.
Probably, yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
they don't have Kitamaru, so that's going to be
they
interesting.
don't, but it's not like Mu and Onoki are slouches either, and we've seen some good stuff from Roshi as well. So
Yeah, we have.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my vote to Stone.
I'm gonna go Stone as well, based on just kind of just even though they did lose last week, pretty handily. They
Yeah,
are still a very strong team, and I feel like the core members that they have I feel are still a bit more solid than the core members that we have from Sound coming into this week, at least.
yeah. That's that's how I feel basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I have a lot more faith in the lineup that Stone has, simply
Hmm.
because I have problems with Wanderer Sasuke.
Yeah, me
Granted,
too.
he did really well against me, but at the same time, that was one build that was gimmicky that worked once, and it didn't
Right.
work
There's
again.
no guarantee it's
Yeah.
going to work again.
So.
Yeah, and Stone seems like they have a little bit more solid builds going on that
Mm-hmm.
just work generally in
Yeah.
more situations. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So we're all for Stone then.
Yep.
Next up we have Team Kurenai at Team Taka.
Yeah. So I got a bit experimental, as I was mentioning earlier.
Hmm.
Jugo has not been performing how I want him to. Like there have been moments of brilliance, and then for the most part, he's done
Yeah,
nothing.
just nothing. Hmm.
So I'm gonna try and build upon what happened during Sound, um, against Kurenai, which was Jugo went awakening, and he was aggressive.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hope to see a repeat. If he doesn't awaken, then
He's
well,
probably done.
yeah, he's probably done. I'm gonna try one last thing on him during week 5, probably if I want him
Mhm.
in or not. Um, but either way, I mean, I'm not trying to underestimate Kurenai, but at the same time, there is a
You
certain
need to make
character.
sure
Hmm?
you need to make sure what's going on with Jugo, and
Yeah, I
he's
mean, he's just been wonky, and at the same
yeah,
time, there is a certain character that I benched that, well, he needs his bench. And that's EMS
yeah.
Sasuke.
And Kurenai has benched 5 Kage Summit Gara, which
Yeah, which I was
I don't.
actually surprised about. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if
they've.
they've benched him yet.
I'm pretty sure that's his first bench because
Yeah,
they've
I'm
they've
fairly sure as well.
loved the double tank.
Yeah, that's that. This was his first bench,
Yeah,
so
so
yeah,
could work.
it could. I mean, they still have Shino in obviously, so they still have that range pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could work against you.
Yeah, it could.
Because EMS is benched, so the really strong
ranged proportion or portion
yeah,
of my team.
it's
Yeah.
mostly out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and this is on your home, so I mean
It's
you don't
large.
yeah, it's large, and if it were on their home you'd have water Takasasuke.
Yeah.
And so it's I mean, I definitely am gonna give this to Taka, but
I don't know if
Kurenai's
you
no
should.
slouch.
I really don't.
Yeah, because I'm really not sure myself on
Mm-hmm.
who I think will win. For sure, it's probably going to be a really close match.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happening.
Mm-hmm. Because if I
So,
recall correctly, I have Jugo, Taka, and Sakura, and then Sakura Karin, and then Taka Karin.
uh, well, yeah. Honestly, I will probably still say Taka here.
Okay.
But I do think Kurenai has a fair chance to win because you really don't want to underestimate them. They definitely pack some power.
Yeah, and I honestly don't mind losing this week.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
wouldn't
really
hurt
want
you
to
too
see what
much.
happens with Jugo.
Yeah, it's very important to test that out. So yeah, and I mean that could be a reason that Kurenai could win. I mean,
Yeah.
they have less stuff to test, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going full experimental with Jugo here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, at least I'm giving him defense +2. So I
true.
mean,
Even if he's not good, he's a tanky.
he's at least tanky.
Yeah. So how about
Oh
you, Gomo?
man, if it works though, I mean he
It would be
would
good.
awaken faster, and he has gate of limit, so he would move super fast.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that would
Anyways,
be really good.
Gomo.
Um, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna say Kurenai. Just because with what we've seen from Shino, I feel he is very dodgy. Moves around a lot and can keep the pressure while also keeping that distance, which it feels like maybe besides, you got, I mean, you do have some options. I feel if Takasask is on his game with his charge jutsu, he might be able to get in there and kind of soften him up a lot to really just interrupt that pressure. But if Shino can get that range and just kind of keep it going, I feel like it's going to be very tough. For Taka,
Yeah.
just in general, because it feels like that's kind of like once a range character gets going and it gets that momentum, I feel like then it's just an uphill battle for the other team.
Yeah.
As we've seen with other characters, with the Tamaris, 10-10s to an extent as well. So that would be the reason why I would probably say it all hinges on how well Shino can do. And if he's on his game, I feel like it would be more for Kurenai. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think if Shino's on his game, he can definitely trouble for Taka.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And he's in twice.
He is in twice with PTS Kiba and then with
Everyday Kiba
and Everyday Shippuden Kiba, yeah. So
Shippuden Kiba.
Shippuden Kiba.
Actually, that first lineup is actually a lot more melee heavy than I gave it credit.
It is, yeah.
So that might be in my favor, depending on if my first lineup is aggressive as well, and if they don't
how much ultimate spam they do.
Yeah. Well, also if they let Shino in.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. So yeah. Next up we have Minato at Jinchuriki.
Next.
Well, let me at least go into our builds a little bit.
Go for it.
It's clear Gomo and I are gonna vote for our team, but Minato is not to be underestimated. They are also 3-0, and from what we saw last week, I mean, they really do have a lot of power. They have young Kakashi, they have Madara, they have. I mean, even Obito's been doing some stuff. He's probably been like their close to their least impressive so far, but they've got Minato, they've got young Kakashi, they've got Madara, and it's a really scary lineup there. And well, let me look. Who did they bench? Because I actually have not looked at.
They benched Obito.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I feel like that's.
I would say that's probably their strongest lineup they could have. Obito still feels like probably their weakest in terms of just what we've seen.
I'd say it's between him and Double Sharingan, yeah.
But, yeah.
I'd agree with that.
And we benched Naruto, which I mean, we've been debating for a while on who we think our weakest character is.
Get rid of Naruto, you fuck.
I like Naruto, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not sure of him yet, and we just decided to bench him because I don't think he has one yet. And yeah, so it could work out. I think it's going to probably be close. We did use our Kushina and Fu combo this week, and we're trying a little. Yes, and we're trying something a little different for Gaara and Obito this time around. So I don't know. I think obviously I want us to win, but I don't think it's going to be very easily earned.
I mean, both sides aren't 3-0 for nothing, so it's definitely going to be
true.
It's going to be a fight, and it just depends on how well certain combinations perform, and if the Kushina Fu combo can get some caps in our favor, and I'm sure with Minato, I think they're closing with Minato and young Kakashi, right? That's actually that. Am I right?
So.
Because I think that was one of their best, at least combinations, that Ram.org blessed them with.
Yeah, that is what they're.
So that's going to be interesting as well. I guess it depends on how well each of those performs and how much of an advantage one gets.
Yeah, it's really. I think it's going to be very momentum based, if I'm being honest here, because either team can come back, but the beginning of the match is going to be very important, I think. So. Next, we have Uchiha Clan at Hidden Cloud.
Ooh. Who benched who?
That should be interesting.
It should be, and I mean, obviously, I'm more thinking Uchiha's going to win because they're just a more solid team. But, let's give Cloud a look here. They've benched Yugito this week. And Uchiha has benched Madara. So, yeah, Cloud has B, Utakata, Darui, and third Raikage, while Uchiha has Sarada, Itachi, Chisui, and the last Sasuke in.
Yeah. Are they using any characters 3 times?
Cloud?
Yeah. No.
No, Uchiha, no.
I was thinking about like an actual lineup, actually. Like, is there a 3-man team?
Yes, there's a 3-man team on Uchiha. On Hidden Cloud, no.
Whoa, no. Oh, wow. I mean, guys, there are more than like 2 clouds in the sky. I mean, you can put a third one in there.
They gotta get the double clouds for the double rainbow, okay? God.
Yeah, dude. I am very interested to see how Uchiha does on such a small stage, because I don't think we've really seen that from them yet. They're usually on a larger stage that we've seen so far. They've been at home for the majority of the preseason, I think. Right? Let me check this.
Even though Madara, you said he's benched, was he one of the ones that had one of their larger area support jutsus, with that fireball that he fires out? I mean, like where you have like Shishui who has the Halo dance, Sarada with the kunai, and I feel like maybe on the smaller map, Madara might not have been bad. I mean, considering the area that it could spread, but. I don't know. I mean, you got Itachi. I mean, he loves to tilt, and that tilt's gonna probably just take him from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage.
Yeah. Okay. So in the preseason, they've mostly been away, but it's usually not that small of a stage that they're on. I think the smallest stage they've been on so far is probably Asuma's. That's probably the smallest one they've been at so far. And Asuma won that match.
Awesome is smaller
So,
than mine?
yes, I think it is
Huh.
smaller than yours.
Okay.
Um not by too much, but I think it's definitely smaller.
Okay.
And Clouds, their Clouds is tiny. So it's going to be I'm mostly looking forward to see how Uchiha adapts to that, because we've seen them in a lot of mid-range and that's really what they thrive in, but if they're up close all the time, I'm wondering how that's going to work out.
I'm gonna. For me, I think it all depends on how long Uda stays out on the field. If continues to stay out more often, it might be a little tougher because of just some of the speed and pressure that Uchiha has.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'd rather have a Darui out longer as opposed to a Udakata in the situation, because with Darui, I mean he's pretty solid. With that ult as well, that can definitely get in there. Whereas Uda, his ult close range, his bubbles slow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think having somebody that's faster is going to help them more against this team, just because of just a lot of the characters that they have.
Well, okay, let me put this into perspective. They've used Utakata twice, Third Raikage twice, and B and Darui once each. And that's an interesting choice on Darui. And for some reason, Gamer Junkie likes to only put B in once a match.
Because
Week
he doesn't
one,
like him. Pretty
week
sure.
one he led with B.
Mm-hmm.
Week two, he didn't have B in the first lineup, but he was in the second lineup and he led on that one, so he was only lineup that time. He was benched versus Akatsuki, and he's leading in the first match against Uchi.
Like,
So one time
there's there's
B.
there's not enough data gathered for him because he's only been in like
For or against him. Like
yeah,
there's not enough info.
yeah.
So
I feel like B would have been a good pick to be in more often, just because he's really fast. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
not as fast as Shishu in terms of like movement, but in like combos, like he's probably one of the fastest in terms of just like what he can do.
Probably,
And that,
yeah.
yeah, and with some of the team, and with Uchiha, I feel that that's, again, like I said, it's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's tough. It just feels like when Uda's in, he feels like he does want to hang out, and I feel like that's a lot with a lot of ranged fighters. If they're in a lineup, they tend to stay out longer.
Usually, yeah. Cloud's fastest fighters combo wise are B and Yugito, and Yugito's benched. And Darui's not slow either, but he comboing doesn't really seem like it's his focus a lot of the time. He gets a good amount in, but it doesn't seem like he's usually out enough to do combos. It's usually like Third Raikage or Yugito doing those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to give this to Uchiha.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same here.
But I am very interested to see how Uchiha plays.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to
Lightning
see Cloud get a win, but I mean, I know Uchi's also been having a tough time these past few weeks as well.
That's true. Yeah.
But if Cloud could do it, I mean, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying, just based on just the characters that we know that are in the match right now, I think that's just, I would have to just say Uchiha.
Yeah. So next up we have Asuma at Team Mist? No, Hidden Mist.
Hidden Mist.
Asuma
Yeah.
at Hidden Mist.
And Mist is at home again.
Mist is at home, yeah.
So this is gonna be rough.
But as for swimsuit,
I don't care.
Oh.
It's gonna be rough.
That's gonna give her power. It's gonna be fine.
She doesn't get +1 against water.
Sure she does.
Bullshit.
No, that's not a thing I can do.
she gets like extra agility.
Yeah, totally.
What?
But yeah, honestly, I mean, the fact that Mist is at home gives them a huge advantage here, and it's because I mean, Asuma has two jutsus that Ino's benched against Mist.
Oh no.
Who'd
Really?
miss bench?
Mist benched Zabuza.
That's a thing.
That is a thing.
Hmm.
But here's the thing. I feel like Mist can still do decently well without Zabuza. Team Asuma, I agree that after last week, they could definitely still do well. But on Hidden Mist home, I don't know about that. Not having Ino is pretty big.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's. I mean, honestly, any team that faces Mist at their home map with how strong they are, you got to give it to, at least the advantage to Mist in general, and the opposing team is going to have an uphill battle to go against, just to go, just to counter that. I mean, and they said Ino's out, but I mean, it is. I mean, Shoji has proven to show that he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah,
He can be pretty meaty. He can absorb a lot. You have Yamato, Asuma, Shika. I mean, they have shown well that they can do well. It just depends on how aggressive they can be against Mist. Because I feel that the moment they let Mist kind of hang back, especially with Kisame and all that, that it gets tough. Because then you just get bombarded
yeah, they're
by
gonna
by
have to
so
be
much.
they're gonna have to beat Hidden Mist's aggression,
Yeah.
and that's not the easiest task. But I mean, I won't say that they can't do it because I mean, Asuma has really surprised me, but I don't know. Hidden Miss being at home just by default gives them a huge advantage, and you know, Asuma's not bringing their strongest lineup here. They have PTS Shikamaru in, and granted, he's only in the first lineup, but right now he is, in my opinion, their weakest fighter. So
Yeah, which is sad because he was one of the people that brought around the idea that ranged ultimate users needed a nerf.
yeah, one of them. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did
So
he like disable a grab or something?
I don't. He disabled his tilt. I know that much, but I
Hmm.
don't think he did anything else to him. Pretty sure that was the only thing. So yeah, I don't know.
I would just I'm gonna give it to Mist.
Same
I'm
here.
not gonna say Asuma can't do it. It's always gonna be tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna be
good.
tough for sure.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. um. So yeah, missed. Okay, next up we have Team Kakashi at Team Sage.
Mm.
Hmm.
This is something.
This
Um,
is definitely something.
Who did Kakashi bench?
Let me see. Team Kakashi has benched. It looks like they have benched PTS Naruto.
Good.
And Sage has benched Jiraiya.
Hmm.
So no,
that's a pretty. Jiraiya's been pretty good for them. By no means is he. He's probably one of their stronger members, but I
he
feel
is a
like
great source of damage. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
he is.
at any given time, he's
Like,
and when he really works well with a lot of the really good comps that they've had, like the double Narutos, the Naruto or the Jiraiya and Hashirama.
hmm he's in a lot of good team compositions for
He's a solid
Sage.
core. Yeah.
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 Uh, and defense builds work well on him because he can get a lot of damage output from just his jutsu,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not in, and neither is BTS Naruto. So I mean, it could.
I don't know. I'd say
Kakashi,
again, like I said, PTS Naruto has been a little, like I said, he's
He's been
been hit or
wonky.
wonky, and I feel like maybe not having him in this lineup might
It's
actually
probably a good choice.
be a good choice for them because of just everyone else they have. The Kakashi, you have the Tenten, Sakura, and Sasuke. I mean,
they can't count on PTS Naruto to do what they want him to do right now, and that's the most important part here. And Team Sage, I will still probably give the advantage to, even though
They have Sage Hashirama.
they do have, yeah, and even though they have Kakashi who can get boosted from their water on their stage, because Sage is at home. Yes. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, it's not like they have a weak lineup here. They have BTS 1010, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Shippuden Sakura. And probably the weakest point of that is Sakura. So, yeah. Sage, though, they still have Sage Kabuto, Sage Naruto, Master Rasengan Barrage, and Sage Hashirama. So, I'm probably going to have to side with Sage here. But I am always rooting for Kakashi, as I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to win, but I don't think it's going to come easy whatsoever. So I'm gonna say Sage.
I'm actually, because PTS has benched. I feel like like I mentioned before, I feel like he's been a weak link, or kind of in the matches that they've been in. I feel like that's kind of where it's kind of fallen, where like he didn't really hold up what he was supposed to do, and created a hole that by the end of the match they were too far behind in some of the stuff. So I feel because of that. I'm going to say Kakashi because I feel like everyone else, for the most part, is a bit more consistent. Like I said, pending, Sakura, which is still kind of working on, but I feel like she still is a little more so than Naruto.
Well, she doesn't have any awakening this week, so that's good.
So that means she won't take out when she does it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about Sasuke's build though.
He has an attack +2, so that's an interesting thing to jump to.
Yeah. Attack +2
against a team like Sage, especially. I mean, we saw how heavy like Hashirama's grab did to Kidomaru with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm mostly worried for him. Spam goes, because I feel like he's fairly good at like countering aggression from combos, so I don't really think he'll be taking a lot of damage from that.
Yeah,
but ult spam is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little trickier with him.
I honestly wish they would look into ults with him.
Well, because... I mean, maybe they changed his jutsu this week. So that'll make him spam ults more.
Well, they don't have NCST. I mean,
they have it on him.
No,
he has it on him.
No, they have just normal Chakra Saver. I mean, I meant UCS, Ultimate Chakra Saver.
Yeah, I was confused because he does have an NCST.
Yeah, but like Chakra +1 and Ultimate Chakra Saver, just from what we saw last week, might be neat.
It could work.
Yeah,
I mean,
he has a Kamui-like ult, but his hitbox is bigger.
Yeah, the hitbox is wider. Yeah, so and it's got a bit of a delay to it, like kind of like Unmasked Obito. So it's not just like not like
kind
Kakashi
of like
where he activates it and then they're moving and it just doesn't hit. So yeah.
I'm still gonna go Kakashi. I think though I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. I think they have it in them to get a win out of this. It might be tough, but I feel like having him benched PTS, I think they have a good chance of getting a win out of this match.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I want them to win. So there you go.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so our last match of next week is going to be Hidden Sand at Team Guy. Yeah.
That's going to be at Foot of the Great Tree, and Guy didn't get their lineups in.
That's right. Yeah, but their lineup still looks fairly solid.
Yeah, hey, sometimes random.org, makes good lineups.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes. Yeah, So
I
let
I
me
I
get these.
I did have to say, or I do have to say, I had to refresh it a couple times because it kept wanting to put Konohamaru first, and he led
Right.
last week.
That's
So
not a thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so they have 10-10 benched,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly, like random.org, that's a pretty good choice there
No,
because
no, 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 no. I kept their bench from the
oh,
they
that's
they
right.
had a
That's
bench
what they
schedule.
wanted. Okay.
Yeah. So
Never
I followed their
mind.
bench schedule. But
Still good choice.
yeah, those lineups look pretty good.
Yeah,
But
because
Would
Sand
you say it's a
does.
random dot win?
I don't know. I mean, they have Lee in once. He's starting. So
Yeah.
maybe.
It's an
Lead
interesting
guy.
place for him to be.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see how pretty much at that point you're really looking at him to get handicaps and
Mm-hmm.
get as far
Yeah.
of as much as a lead as they can.
First match is gonna be important. And
Yeah.
Sand has Gara benched. So they've got Donzo Conqueror and both Tamari's in. So the first match is going to be Lee and Guy versus PTS Tamari and Shippen and Tamari. So that's going to be an interesting one to start it off with.
Wow, two melee
Could be
heavy
fun.
characters versus like more like two ranged characters.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, they don't have Gara, so they can't do the Tamara and
There's
Gara
no
combo.
Gamari, right? Gamari.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gamari, Tamara, Gamari, whatever. Um, and I mean, Guy, like the random.org didn't pick some weak lineups. Like they have Lee Guy, PTS Neji, and then PTS Neji and Konohamaru, which by all things considered, that sounds like it would be pretty solid. And as for Sand, I'm not as sure because Conqueror was in two of their lineups, two of their teams, and I'm just
Yeah,
not sure about him.
Conqueror, we haven't seen as much because either if he's starting, you see him once,
Yeah,
or he's in the next lineups, but then the first lineup of Sands sweeps, and you
Yeah.
never
yeah,
get to him. So
So for most of the time we've seen very little of him, and of the stuff we've seen him mostly be mediocre.
yeah.
Like in the very beginning, it looked like Conqueror was going to be awesome, but lately he's been really weird.
He has been, and that's
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but I mean, maybe they'll swap Rasa in next trimester. But
Maybe.
yeah, so honestly, considering all those things, I don't know how strong of a hidden sand we're going to be seeing this week. PTS Tomorrow is only in one lineup, so that's kind of big. I mean, it's an interesting choice. Donzo's in one, and Shipping and Tamari's in two lineups, and so is Conqueror. So honestly, this is far from the strongest lineup we could see from Sand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a weak lineup from Team Guy. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say Team Guy on this one. Plus, their
yeah,
home stage is not that big. So
I would agree with you, Darky. I think just from what they have, I feel like between Lee, Guy, Konohamaru, Meiji, I think that's overall pretty strong.
yeah,
Considering what they have there, and of course we do have a lot more. We do have a little more data overall about Guy than we have seen about with Sand.
for sure. Yeah. So yeah, Burn. What was yours?
Just to be different, I'm going to say Sand
Okay.
because of how well of a fight they put up against you guys.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's gonna come to Guy, but I honestly I think this is it's probably Sand's one of their weaker lineups that they could do. So
Gar
that's
is a really strong linchpin, just overall, and like even in a support role, I feel like he plays a big part in a lot of the comps that they put together that do really
Mm-hmm.
well. We had like Gara, Gara Donzo, you had Tamari, Gara. I mean,
yeah,
so
he's pretty strong for them, but it's not like they could bench Conqueror because that's what they did against us. So
no,
Yeah.
like you have to bench these
yeah,
characters eventually. So I mean, it's just at
exactly.
least based on just they've had him in every week until now. So of course he needed it, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All
we've
things
already
considered,
stated,
Guy
yeah,
for me.
Sand for me, and then Guy for
Sand, two
Gomal.
Guy, one Sand.
mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think
yeah.
that's it.
Yep. Faux show. That is our endcast for the week. Thank you all so much for listening. And remember, if you have, go on and head to the forums and into the endcast section and just, go ahead and ask us stuff.
Yeah, if you have any questions,
not in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, we don't check the YouTube comments.
Okay.
Not for endcast stuff.
Yeah. But so take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.